Thanks so much for being with us here on Atlanta News First Plus. I'm Joy Limnacker, and taking a look at the top stories that we're following right now in Pike County. Community is in mourning, and grief counselors are in hand as students start their first day back from the Labor Day holiday, mourning one of their classmates. A star football player was killed in a crash over the Labor Day weekend. As Atlanta News First Asia Wilson reports, the student was loved by so many in the community.
It's been a difficult day for students and staff here at Pike County High School as they're grieving the loss of star football player Payton Rivera. They say he had a heart of gold and a smile that will light up any room. In fact, the principal here at the school says he made the school better just with his presence. Tuesday morning, many heavy hearts in Pike County as students return to school after their beloved classmate died over the holiday weekend. The Pike County Sheriff's Office says Payton was killed in a crash on Highway 109 late Friday night. According to his family, it was a head-on collision. The 17-year-old was known for his leadership on and off the field. Since this tragic accident, the community has been rallying around this grieving family.
Whenever something like this happens, everybody says he's good, but Payton, it truly does fit him. He really was a good kid. He had the biggest heart of any kid that I'd ever been around. He would always put others' needs in front of his, and that's the truth. And he just loved everybody. He was just a loveful guy. I don't think he had a problem with anybody. You know, everybody loved him. He loved everybody.
Love like he did. Be there for your friends. He was. It didn't matter what, he would be there. He would drop everything. He gave the best hugs. Give a hug. You know, you don't know if you're going to see that person again. Give a hug.
According to the Pike County Football Facebook page, there will be a candlelight vigil for Payton Rivera tomorrow night at Christ Church at 8 p.m. Also, there will be a funeral at that same location at 2 p.m. on Saturday. In Pike County, Asia Wilson, Atlanta News First.
We're also following the massive AT&T strike. The union representing thousands of AT&T workers has walked away from the bargaining table. In their third week on strike, the Communication Workers of America accuses the company of stalling. Atlanta News First Sarah Hammond is outside AT&T's headquarters in Midtown with details.
These AT&T workers have been on strike for nearly 3 weeks.
We want to talk about health care. We want to talk about benefits and wages, but until the right people are at the table, we can't discuss none of that stuff.
Now the union representing thousands of AT&T workers has walked away from the bargaining table. The Communication Workers of America say they are withdrawing from the mediation process after AT&T brought in a federal mediator. Ed Barlow, president of Communication Workers of America Local 3204, says having the mediator slowed down the whole process. The CWA called the strike August 16th and has accused the company of unfair labor practices, an allegation that AT&T has denied.
Here we are, on the third week. And could this thing go on longer? It could. Our members are prepared for that. Do they want to be out here? No, they rather be at work.
In a statement, union leaders said, quote, "Our message to AT&T is no more excuses. It's time to get serious about bargaining so we can get back to work serving our customers." In response to that announcement, AT&T said, quote, "Withdrawing from mediation seems inconsistent with the union's allegation of unfair labor practices. This also goes against their stated intention to bargain towards a mutually agreeable solution."
If AT&T got to get the CEO, John Stankin, here to negotiate this contract, John Stankin need to get on a plane and get here in Atlanta and get this deal done.
It's hard not to pay attention to this race. We already have an historic matchup. We've had an assassination attempt on a candidate and, of course, an historic change at the top of the Democratic ticket. There's an old adage in politics that people really don't start paying attention to presidential races until after Labor Day weekend, but that's not the case this year.
This year, Labor Day is not the hump day of, oh, now the election is starting. That's not the case at all.
Georgia State University political scientist Eric Siegel has been studying elections for a long time, but not one like this. The already explosive and historic 2024 campaign is breaking norms in politics.
All of this is bringing attention to Georgia in a way that I don't remember it.
Labor Day is known as the time when voters typically start paying attention in presidential election cycles. But already, there's been an assassination attempt on Republican nominee Donald Trump's life and an historic change of candidates on the Democratic ticket, all well before that normally all-important Labor Day weekend.
That's not this year. This election has been going on in full force for a long time, more than previous years.
It all seems to be creating excitement from Georgia voters. Compared to this time in 2020, registration among black women was up 175% nationwide and 75% in Georgia in that same time. For Hispanic voters, compared to 2020, registration was up 114%, according to the Secretary of State.
Registration in Georgia is up dramatically in the last couple of weeks.
You still have plenty of time to register to vote. Registration ends here in Georgia on October 7th. From Midtown, Doug Reardon, Atlanta News First.
All right, let's turn now to Decatur, where there's a fight to make the city quieter. City officials are about to decide if they agree by changing the noise ordinance. Atlanta News First Yasmina Alston is in downtown Decatur near Atlanta Avenue, where she's in actually one of the areas known for the noise.
So I don't have to wear as much ear protection and only.
It's an electric leaf blower. Andy Pinage says it's not as loud and can keep his Decatur neighbors happy. Pinage tells me he knows how noisy lawn work can be frustrating.
And it can always be nerve-wracking if you're in the middle of something. A lot of us work from home. So if a big lawn crew comes by with a bunch of gas blowers, it can be annoying.
Pinage's wife says she agrees. She's one of many residents that voiced her opinions on the city's noise ordinance.
There's always going to be some kind of noise, so it's not my top priority, but it is something that I would love to see improved upon.
The ordinance right now lists noises that can be considered unnecessary or loud. Loudspeakers, the TV, blowing your horn. But after a lot of resident input and a report done by a Georgia State student, there could be some changes, like adding to the list of what's considered noise, decibel-based noise restrictions, and even bringing awareness to the ordinance.
I think hourly restrictions is probably a good idea. I also think that incentivizing non-noisy solutions would also be another possibility.
The Georgia State report stated where noise is an issue, including the area near Atlanta Avenue. The recommendations for enforcement range from warning citations to separate offense for continued violation. But for most residents like Pinage, the noise isn't a constant problem.
I would say mainly people that have to cut down their trees because there's a lot of trees around here. There's also, whenever there's a wreck on Scott Boulevard, people divert through here. But generally, it's pretty quiet.
Yasmina Alston, Atlanta News First.
And on the coast of Georgia, one 9-year-old is inspiring her community with her passion for conservation. She's dedicated to making sea life a little bit safer by removing trash from local beaches on Tybee Island. Bronte Sorotsky reports.
Labor Day weekend, drawing in crowds to Tybee, as well as trash littered throughout the island.
I know some weird things are we've picked up a whole entire bracelet of beads that have been falling apart. We've picked up a lot of bottle caps, a ton of cigarette butts, a few straws.
Thankfully, 9-year-old Lydia Clever, or Liddy, her mom, and some other volunteers are working hard to clean as much of Tybrisa Street as they can.
I adopted Tybrisa Street out here in Tybee because of my nonprofit, and I wanted to get all of the trash up.
One day, after noticing how much trash was left at the beach whenever she would visit, Liddy started cleaning herself, even wanting to donate a cleanup station with trash buckets and grabbers to her school.
The principal said I couldn't do it because they only accepted donations from nonprofits.
So, the nonprofit Save Sea Life with Liddy was born, organizing cleanups on Tybee Island every month, if not more.
She's like, wait, if we can teach other kids to care, then we won't have a beach to clean up because they'll know not to put trash on it.
Now, 3 years later, the nonprofit has grown beyond just organizing cleanups.
And with the pretty trash, Lydia actually keeps it and she makes trash art out of it. So she'll make whale tails, sea turtles, giant canvases.
Lydia sells this art, saving up to help a local sea turtle at the Tybee Island Marine Science Center.
She's raising money for West East Tracker, so I think we're about $300 away. She's already raised $900.
That's not all for the 9-year-old. She's published 2 books, teaching about humans' impact on our oceans and about endangered sea creatures. When asked how long Lydia plans to keep organizing these cleanups,
I don't think I'll ever stop doing this because it makes me really, really happy to know that I'm giving back to the community.
in her message to any kids out there watching, no act is too small, and you're never too young to make a difference.
More on that and all of our top stories on AtlantaNewsFirst.com, also our free mobile news app. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day.